Hello everyone, it's Mike Blackburn here. I have just put the finishing touches to my latest specialist report looking at the multi-unit construction market here in Christchurch. This particular report is close to 200 pages long and looks at construction activity for this particular market segment over the last 5 years. This is undoubtedly the most deep dive that I've done into this particular market, and hopefully there'll be some really good information here for you. So I've put together a short PowerPoint presentation, which will hopefully give you some idea as to what I've discovered from all of my research. I've been saying for the last 12 months or so that I believe that the multi-unit market here in Christchurch has been oversupplied, and hopefully the analysis that I've done here will sort of provide some context as to why I've come to that conclusion. So the report itself is broken down into three main areas. Firstly, I look at the building consent numbers over the last 5 years. So that's from 2018 through to 2022. And not only do I look at the number of dwellings that are being consented, I look at the consented value, the size of dwellings that are being built. I provide an analysis of exactly where in the city this construction is taking place, including maps, and I provide a list of the top 30 applicants for each of those years. Specifically looking at 2022, I do a really deep dive into the top 10 applicants, and again look at sort of what they're building and where, and the different types and styles, and giving plenty of examples of the different types of construction for each of these developers. Obviously, this year is going to be a tough year economically for the construction sector, and equally so for for multi-unit developers. And I look at some of the external influences that will have an impact on this particular market. And then finally, I'm going to be bold and I'm going to make some predictions for what I think is going to happen over the coming year. So look, this particular graph here looks at the number of multi-unit dwellings that are being consented compared to the number of individual dwellings here in Christchurch. And you'll see that from 2019 onwards, multi-unit dwellings have been the dominant type of construction here in the city. In actual fact, last year, multi-unit dwellings accounted for almost 7 out of 10 new residential dwellings, so a significant part of the market. So there was a total of just over 3,000 multi-unit dwellings consented last year, and that was an increase of 45% over the 2,100 dwellings that were consented in 2021. So that market has grown exponentially over the last 12 months. But look, not only are we building more of these things, the size of these developments is getting larger. So across all building consents for multi-unit dwellings, the average number of units per development project was 6.6. In actual fact, there were more than 50 building consent applications for 20 or more units last year. So the overall size of these dwellings is getting larger, and that brings me to another point, is that I'll be doing another video shortly, specifically looking at the impact of the new medium density rules that the Christchurch City Council are looking to bring in. One of the big things that I've been concerned about is the size of the dwellings that we are building here in Christchurch at the moment. The average size of multi-unit dwellings that were consented last year is around about 86 square metres. So that's 1 and 2 bedroom units, and that's represented on this graph by the orange lines. But have a look at the blue lines. That is the overall size of our housing stock as recorded at the last census. So you'll see that the bulk of our housing stock here in Christchurch is 3 bedrooms, where what we're actually building at the moment, as far as all dwellings go, is being dominated by 1 and 2 bedroom units. So there's quite a bit of a mismatch there. Of course, the long-term trend for the size of dwellings is getting smaller. You can see from this graph here that there's a definite downward trend in the overall size of dwellings over the last 10 years. But what we're actually seeing with the multi-units is they are substantially smaller than what this trend is delivering. So long-term, yes, we do have a need for smaller units, but just I fear that at the moment, these 1 and 2 bedroom units are just there's too many of them coming onto the market when the predominance of our housing stock is 3 bedrooms. So let's have a quick look at the top 10 applicants for 2022. Before we do that, this graph here shows the number of building consent applications. So that's I guess individual construction projects that are being consented. Again, there was a 456 building consent applications for multi-unit dwellings consented last year, and that was an increase of 100 over the previous year in 2021. Look, it's probably no surprise to anyone out there that Williams Corporation and Wolfbrook are the largest multi-unit developers. But look, between these top 10 applicants, there's almost 1,500 units between them. And that's almost half of the 3,000 dwellings that were consented last year. So clearly these top 10 applicants dominate that market, the Christchurch market at the moment. This map here shows the top 10 suburbs for where we're actually building. Of course, we are building these multi-units right across the city. The central city has been for the last couple of years the largest number of dwellings consented for any one particular suburb. But if you have a look at that inner ring of suburbs, so the St Albans, the Linwoods, the Spraydons, the Addingtons, that's actually where the bulk of this construction is taking place. And of course, I sort of provide a breakdown on a year-by-year basis as to where we're building. So it's really interesting to see exactly where this construction is taking place at the moment. Obviously, this is going to be a tough year going forward economically for the construction industry as a whole. And of course, this will also play out specifically for this multi-unit market. Population is the #1 driver for why we build houses in New Zealand. And here in Christchurch over the last couple of years, the population has actually been in decline. Not by a huge amount, but certainly when you look at the massive increase that we've seen in multi-unit construction, it's simply not matched by population growth. Certainly when you compare that to what's happening in our neighbours, Selwyn and Waimak. In actual fact, Selwyn is the fastest growing region in New Zealand. The other thing is let's look at who's buying all of these units. This data from CoreLogic shows that across all new residential construction, investors make up about 60%. So if you specifically look at the multi-unit market, it's not hard to understand that 70% or more of these multi-unit dwellings are being purchased by investors. And as the economy turns against us with rising interest rates and falling values of residential housing, the investors are going to be hit really, really hard, and we're likely to see the number of investors fall away over the coming 12 months. Of course, the other thing that is affected by the economy is the downturn in house price values. This graph here looks really ugly, especially for those people who managed to purchase at the peak of the market at the tail end of 2021. And of course, this has an impact on construction values, and of course the price that these units are being sold across the market. So look, here are my key predictions for 2023. Obviously, it's no surprise that interest rates across the board are set to increase. This will make it harder for people to borrow money. Inflation is going to remain high, which means that sort of household spending is going to be impacted. And of course, that also makes access to money harder, but not just for first home buyers or for investors. Also, development finance is going to be hard, continue to be hard to come by. what I'm already starting to see is that there are a number of buyers who might have purchased these units off the plans 12 or 18 months ago, as they're looking to sort of come up to settlement, with interest rates having gone up and capital values coming back. A lot of buyers are now finding that they can no longer get that mortgage finance. And of course, we're seeing a number of units coming back onto the market as buyers look to sell before they settle. Of course, one of the things that's been widely reported is that sales across the construction industry has been down across all of 2022. I'm hearing some developers say that sales are down by somewhere between 30 and 50%. Unfortunately, the cost of construction is likely to increase further. High inflation will flow through into the cost of building materials. And of course, the new Healthy Homes regulations will only add to the cost of construction. Of course, as the flow-on effect of the slowdown in sales, that will inevitably flow on to a decrease in the number of building consents issued. And look, I'm suggesting that maybe, certainly in this multi-unit market, that I think building consents will come back by up to 30% across this 2023 year. And look, it's an awful thing to have to say, but unfortunately, as the squeeze comes on, there will be a number of developers out there who will find that they simply can't complete projects, and the number of companies that are going into liquidation will increase. So look, that's it's a bit of an awful place to end this video, talking about sort of how tough the market is going to be. But I think it's really important that everyone understands what's going on in the market. So look, if you work in the construction industry, if you're particularly involved in the multi-unit market or you supply into that market, I think that you'll find the information in this report very, very valuable. I'm always happy to have a bit of a chat if you've got any questions, or you'd like to know a little bit more about how this report might be applicable to you. So please feel free to give me a call. Happy to chat, and I hope you found that the information in this report is useful. So thank you for watching, and feel free to reach out with any questions you might have.